like the difference between like raising a first language speaker, there is a delay because of how long our words are and how descriptive they are. So a lot of people get discouraged, like that they're not speaking like really young, but it's because our words are so long and descriptive. So I noticed that there was a delay in how fast, I guess, she was able to speak at a young age.
Welcome to N-Weighing, our sound podcast. This is a grassroots podcast intended for those raising or helping to raise children in an Indigenous language.
A special shout out to the Indigenous Screen Office for making season 2 of N-Weighing possible. Getcha miigwech.
Okay.
You know me as an editor.
5, 4, 3.
You technically already started. Ani.
Bonjour. Welcome back to N-Weighing, our sound podcast. Anishinaabe.
Gikimagwish. Gikimagwish nangwa. Gina go going minoya. Gawin and Giminoyasi Gigacha Gikimagash Gaye Bungi and Dakos and Ginendan Nongom Pigashkos ya J Bob Pigashkos ya Gyabe in the Quam in the Quam the Quayo Gyabe Gikimagash. Should we go? Better than yesterday. Gindash? Anisha Jiayan?
Chikyuk.
Chikyuk. Didn't know you could do that.
Chikyuk. It's a Kejanong dialect.
I didn't know you could put ch in front of it.
Yeah. Chikyuk. Dumta Shwigo. Gyave. Kanien'kehá. Just little. Just teaching my program, being busy, but other than that, I'm good. Just finishing off our semester and then start getting into the summer semester. And yeah. But yeah. Good today. Looking forward to this guest.
Yeah, you tracked her down or discovered her and then told me. Do you want to share how that all came about?
So, yeah, I don't know how, I don't remember following her on Instagram. Like, I don't know when, but I was following her on Instagram and I probably typed in something like Ganienkeh because my mom's Oneida, part of, Haudenosaunee languages, so I have like an interest in learning, Haudenosaunee languages too. So like Oneida, Mohawk. So Ganienkeh. I probably typed that in or something, and maybe her account came up with language stuff on it. And then she posted a story that said something like, my dreams are coming true. I've created a first language speaker. And so that, I don't know if that was the direct quote, but I was thinking, oh, that, you know, she must be raising her child in a language and she must be a speaker. And so I reached out to her and asked her if that's what she was doing. And then I asked her if she could be, or if she wanted to be on the podcast, because I think she'd be a good guest. And like, other than that, I didn't really know her. But I think that was, you know, just anyone raising their child in their language. I think it's always an inspiring story in whatever story that they have, like in how they're doing it. So yeah.
Nice, as you would say. Yeah, this is what, episode 8?
I think so, yeah.
I really like hearing from moms, like from mothers doing the language. I love hearing from other people, like fathers as well and whatnot, but it's always nice for me as another mother to be able to relate and learn from other moments and that, you know, we have as mothers. And then I always love hearing from people who speak a different language, and that's especially some of the Haudenosaunee languages. One, because they're a matriarchal system, and I love hearing their perspective on things. But also, I think there's a lot of good insight and a lot of knowledge that, you know, can be utilized or learned or absorbed from culture to culture, especially, well, specifically as people revitalize their language and pass it down to the next generation or their children or whoever it is that they're teaching as children in their homes or in their, you know, language nest programs or whatnot. I like learning from those guests that we have on, and yeah, so I'm excited to hear from her and to hear her story and her journey, because we don't know her personally. So it'll be nice to get to know her and hear her story. And so, yeah, I'm excited. We're lucky to be able to have booked her to make time for us to share what she has to share. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to hear from other people from different languages, and like I said, like each person has their own story of how they're doing it, and I think it's all inspiring, especially, you know, like our indigenous languages. And yeah, just hearing perspective, because we know people, we speak Anishinaabe, so we know people in that space. And I think it's good to hear, you know, like you said, from other languages, and, you know, learning from one another, being inspired from one another. And then we could also, if people that are listening know other people from other languages, that would be good on the podcast. You guys, you know, you can, you know, contact us, tell us about it, you know, message us. We have Instagram, Facebook page,
Email
on the show notes. You can find. But yeah.
And I think as nations as a whole, there could be a lot. I mean, I know there's conferences all over the world that do this kind of work, but I think it's important, you know. I know that sometimes when you're learning your own language and then you hear somebody from a different nation learning theirs, it's like, well, how can that relate to myself? But I think we have a lot to learn from people leading the way in language revitalization work, especially with, you know, Ganienkeh.
Kanien'kehá.
Ganienkeh. I'm just keep telling me until I get it right. And not that Not that I didn't take an introductory course already, and I should know. Um, but I think, they're leading the way in a lot of things, and they've successfully handed down the language in a lot of ways, and I think there's a lot to learn. And I know other people within our Anishinaabemowin language circles have said the same thing, that we could be sharing more from nation to nation. And so I'm less like I understand like when people are less likely to listen because it's not about their specific target language, but there's so much knowledge and power within other communities, their systems, their governing systems, their learning systems, their ways of learning, sharing, building. So yeah, it's gonna be great. Probably everybody already knows us. I don't think we probably need to do an introduction today, but yeah, bena gui debatan, gui debat.
Not right now. No, I think we can just.
Anishinaabemowin.
Menogish got nangwa.
Or mage ngwiskakedat osnago mage.
Oh, just what he's been saying lately.
Debatan Anishinaabemowin.
Nishnaabemya.
Mm-hmm.
Gabmasek, Magna, Osnago, Gwis, Nijing, Gwis Gikida. Oh, Nija, Nishnaabemowin, Kinamagegomgong, Piganundiang, Gujago, Inguding, Moseyang, Oede, Kinamagegomgong, Inje, Kinamagazit, Gwis, Gikwajimik. Oh, and Dajana, Nishnaabemowin, Kinamagegomgong, Giek, Midash ganat gai tema gasano Nishnaabemowin kinamage kumig mampi gyunan an gawa go mekwendan gakidia mino go nguding pi mage Japan bad gi kwejmek anishenje Nishnaabemye geta gin mino gasha gi gi kinamagzame mino gikeda Anish enje shaganashimwad Kahnawà. Anish enje Nishnaabemye geta ginwa giket. Kahnawà shaganashimwag gawain giken zinwa wakidia mage kekiriamba. Nin mino gasha de Nishnaabem tadame pane gedon sastan gigi Nishnaabemowin Kahnawà shaganashimwag gedenoe magna shomasag and kokamasag Kahnawà shaganashimwag mi etego ga kidia mino ago ani mino ago ga kidat ni Nija Nishnaabemowin kinamagegomgong gawin giken zin wakidia UP ganabach Mio
Knut. Jinx.
So a couple of times within the past week or so, my son asked if he can go to an Anishinaabemowin school. And once was when we were walking to his school, we were talking, and he said he wanted to go to Anishinaabemowin school. And then another time he was going to sleep, and then he asked me why only me and Gusha, or his mom and dad, why we only speak in the language and no one else does. And I didn't know what to say to him other than I just said everyone else speaks English, and we learned to speak Anishinaabemowin, and I told that to him all in the language, and so I didn't really know what to say to him. other than, like a how, okay. But I think it's a good thing. I think that he wants that's what he wants. And, sometimes as parents, you can get discouraged if your kids aren't speaking, even though they might understand everything. Your goal is like, I want my kids to speak. And just, I think for me, I want them to know the importance of it, and that they have it, that they understand it, and that they both go to non-language schools. There's no language class that's offered in their schools. So whatever I can give to them, I will. And then hopefully later on they'll find their passion and find a way to learn it themselves. So yeah, that was, but it made me happy that he wanted to, like, I didn't talk about a school, Anishinaabe at a school, like a language only school. I didn't mention anything about it, and he just said it himself. He was just like, I want to go to Anishinaabe school, or can I go to Anishinaabe school? So,
Well, one thing I should point out that's been a bit different is, well, one, our kids both like to play Minecraft, not online with other people, but I don't even know if that's a thing, but they like to play Minecraft with one another. And the only reason that I let them do that is because they have really good conflict resolution skills when they're playing. That's personally for me. Like, I hear a lot of, hey, why'd you do that or whatever? And then, oh, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry. That's okay. Like, I hear that a lot when they're playing. Like, yeah, there's sometimes where I have to intervene and help them resolve something. But I like, if they're coming to a resolution like 12 times in an hour or something where they're playing, they're practicing that I don't know how many times, right? So that's one reason why I let them play. But because there's a video online, there's videos online of, people playing Minecraft in Anishinaabe. He's asking to listen to that all the time now because he knows that we'll put it on because it's in the language, but it's about Minecraft. So every morning when he gets up, they generally, get up and they're allowed to have some TV time while they're getting ready and having breakfast and stuff. And in the last, I'd say month or so, maybe a bit more, he's been saying like, well, can I watch Anishinaabe and Minecraft? Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, depending on whether or not I want to have YouTube on that early in the morning. But ever since we got back from ATEC and you brought home the Barbara Nolan t-shirts that we bought, there's been a shift. Now, before we went to ATEC, we were playing Barbara Nolan's videos that SPK has helped create.
what's ATEG?
Anishinaabe Muintek conference in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan every year that we attend as like an annual thing, and it's a tradition for you and me. But like he was watching that before that. Then we saw the t-shirts that they were promoting. We bought some. We brought them home. I think like the second day we got home, I put him in it to wear to school. And I did post this on the Weighing Our Sound IG page, Instagram page, but someone was asking about it in his classroom. And so he was talking about it. And so his teachers, who are so supportive and so great and are fantastic at not appropriating our language or our culture, but supporting it because they know, how important it is to our household and for other children to be exposed and normalize, different cultures and whatnot. So they looked it up because it was right on the t-shirt and put it on for the whole class and gave S2E8 or our son a chance to share whatever it is he wanted to share about these videos and about his language and whatnot. And I guess he gave them some teachings about because they put on Nangus Nangus, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I suppose. And so what was shared with me was that, he shared some teachings about Nokomis Tabiki's, the grandmother moon. which is so cute. And then, they had a healthy conversation about it at school. And I've heard that, there's been requests from it since. And then the last 2 to 3 days that, he's asked if he could watch TV, he said, can I watch TV? Can I watch Minecraft on YouTube, Anishinaabe on Minecraft, or Barbara Nolan? And that, for me, I was like, oh my God, he's requesting language. And I know he did that before with Minecraft, but I know that Minecraft was the motivator. So the last couple of days, I'm like, yep. And then I throw on Barbara Nolan. That's a huge win for me because, out of all the choices in the world of Disney, Netflix, Prime, all the things, he's asking for Barbara Nolan. So I think part of that is also that his peers took an interest. And we've been saying this, and I heard this again at the conference, but it's, and I'm not sure if we'll hear it again today, but I keep hearing that the same thing that we've been saying all along, and it's nice to have that reinforced, and that's children will speak the language that their peers speak, and that's the main motivator. And that also backs up what I've been saying about, when I moved to Austria, the first 3 months, I did not speak any German. It wasn't until I met friends and I wanted to keep up with my friends that I jumped that quickly in my speech ability. And it was because they weren't going to slow down and learn and speak English for the time being when this chick is going to leave in 3 months. It was because I wanted to laugh with them and joke with them and socialize with them. So that was my motivator, which again reinforces this. And so there's not too much we can do about that right now. We can't just plop an immersion school down next to our house and have a bunch of, children speaking, but it's helpful knowledge to know because all these families that are doing this, it's, I think, the first time in history that we're learning the language in the way that we're learning it and the way that we're having to navigate it. So all of this is, hopefully going to help the future or help us, it's a big trial and error. I think it's a huge, everybody just trying to figure it out, so if the more evidence or the more things that, what's the word, similarities or recurring themes that we're hearing, I think it's really important for those to be jotted down. And I think, at the end of having all of our guests on, if you and me wanted to do a recap, I'm hearing a lot of the same things from our guests, a lot of the same strategies or things that they have noticed with their own children. So I think it would be nice to have that in writing as well, do an episode on, so far I think every single person has said that they write down what they don't know and look it up later. That's that's been a common denominator between most of the conversations that we've had, and vice versa. So anywho, we can get into it here, but I'm noticing things as we speak to more and more people, and even if it's not the same language, some of the same strategies. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring up while we had the chance before we have our guests join us. So
all right, miigwech.
Ahau.
Miigwech Bazindoyek, Kahnawà. Thank you all for listening, and hopefully you'll enjoy this podcast as well.
Oh, I know it for sure. They're going to enjoy it. I have a feeling. Ahau. We'll wait for her to join us here. Seko.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet. How do you say your name?
Mashko Gobwit.
Mashko Gobwit.
Oh my God. I should. Yeah, you got it. And then here I'm going to butcher your name. How do you pronounce your name?
Ierennahá.
Karennahawi.
Mm-hmm.
Karennahawi. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. You just correct me or if I mispronounce it, because I think that's really important to get that right.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Okay.
I'm excited. I think I'm excited to hear what you have to share. And
Yeah, I chose this time because I thought my daughter, would be at school. Might have been easier, but then I couldn't find my car keys this morning. Like they're still lost, so she's home with me. So if you hear her, don't mind her.
oh yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah. So, where are you living right now? I guess maybe like, yeah, if you wanted to introduce yourself and let us know like where you are and what you're doing and stuff. And if you want to use your language, then we welcome that definitely.
Okay, awesome. So Karennenhá jets tanu Kahnawà again. My name is Karennenhá Goodleaf. I'm originally from Kahnawà. But I currently live in Ganienkeh. I'm 30 years old. I'm Kanien'kehá, and I speak Kanien'kehá. I've been working in Ganienkeh for around 10 years. So I've been working as a language teacher out this way. But I just recently switched careers like in February because I was working in the language nest. But a few years ago, I went to school for foraging and medicine making. So, and I'm currently in school for a herbal immersion program. So it's just like studying our original medicines and whatnot and trying to bring that back to life. I'm really passionate about that. So I want to make more time for that this year because I've been doing a lot of language work for the past decade. So, yeah.
Oh, I
And
love
then
that.
my daughter, too, she's 4.5. Her name is Goodleaf. So she lives with me. Yeah.
Nice. I'm really into medicines and excuse me, looking at like all of our medicines and their properties and how to use it, but it's tough to do both at the same time, like focusing on one part. I mean, they are totally connected and have a strong relationship. You need one for the other, but I'm like their clan really into really into all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a teacher as well. Teach Anishinaabe. I learned it as an adult. Right now I teach adults. That's kind of what I like teaching, I guess, that the age group, just to give you kind of a little bit of background of what I do.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't I was more teaching younger kids. I've never taught adults, but it was more like 7 to 8 year olds, and then after a few years I switched to the language nest. So I never had the opportunity to teach like older people, but so it's mostly just been younger ones.
Yeah, and what am I doing right now? Oh, I just finished like one contract doing resource development for a large organization in Ontario, Anishinaabe Nation and Kahnawà, so an education body. And now I'm working in a daycare, kind of consulting and teaching the little ones, and as well as the teachers and reinforcing the language there and whatnot. But I've done a couple of things, but mostly been dragged into teaching as we do when you learn the language, or your own language. Yeah. So that's a little bit about myself. Do you have very many speakers in your community?
Here in, I feel like there's a lot here in Ganienkeh. A lot of my friends speak, so it's really helpful because they're bringing up their children the same way, like as first language speakers. So my daughter and their children, they all like hang out together. So they all like support each other in that way. So they have their own little like Ganienkeh gang. But they're all like but I don't know, it's really awesome to hear because it's not like forced. It just comes out really natural. It's just like what they know. So like to hear them just like they just play in the corner or do something together and it's all in Ganienkeh. So it's just like really beautiful to see it like unfold so like naturally. And so I'm like really grateful for that. A lot of my friends are bringing up their kids in the same way because it can be lonely for like a younger Ganienkeh speaker to not I guess have that type of support of people like their own age. But yeah, there's a few speakers out this way. There's a lot of speakers in Kahnawà as well. There's not many like first language speakers left, but there's still a lot.
So all your friends, you said, did they learn to speak, or did they grow up speaking?
They weren't. I don't think they were first language speakers. No, they weren't first language speakers, but they had a lot of people in their family were first language speakers, so they grew up around hearing it. But they learned through, I guess, through their family as well, and then they would take like adult immersion programs, and they were just like in immersion schools growing up. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we can get into that, but we're noticing like children generally want to speak the language that their peers are speaking. So it's incredible that there's like, you have your gang there naturally and organically supporting each other and giving them that motivation to want to speak with one another. That's unreal. I wish that there was more of that here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, I was just gonna ask what your language was like growing up. Like, did you grow up around it, and did you always want to speak it, or was it just like a thing that everyone did? Or
well, I was raised by my father, and he wasn't a Ganienkeh speaker. I didn't have family that spoke, but I guess he was the one that saw like the importance of language because he didn't know how to speak and he knew how hard it was to learn, like especially as an adult. So he made sure to put like me and my siblings in elementary immersion schools. So I was in immersion school until like grade 4, and then it switched to English. But yeah, growing up, I was always surrounded by like first language speakers, like as teachers. But I mean, they were still after me, like stop speaking English, like they're getting after me to speak Ganienkeh. But I was always like around it and hearing it, and I was able to speak back, and I understood it all. But as I got older, and after grade 4, when you switch to English and you're only learning Ganienkeh like an hour a day, it like made a big difference in my life. Like I started to realize that I couldn't respond like in Ganienkeh. If somebody talked to me, like if somebody older came talk to me in Ganienkeh, I would understand everything they're saying, but I couldn't speak back. I would answer in English, and I had like that fear of like, well, I don't want to make it. I haven't spoke in like so long. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to like embarrass myself and like stuff like that. But after high school, I took an adult immersion program, and so that's where I became more advanced in like speaking back to people and understanding more and whatnot. But yeah, we didn't have a Ganienkeh speaking family growing up, so it's honestly that's why it's so I guess awesome that my daughter can speak now because our family couldn't speak. So now it's just like awesome to see that she's the first language speaker. And yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the adult program that you went to, what was that called? And
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was just asking, what was that like, that experience?
It's called Ratiwennahnírats. It's a 2-year immersion program. I really enjoyed it. I wish it was longer. it was like a mixed age group too. So you got older people or younger people, or it was kind of challenging because I was like going to school and then going to work, and it was really overwhelming. We're all older too, so we all like we're kind of afraid of making mistakes and like whatever, but we were all starting in like the same kind of boat. So we all I don't know, we all became friends quickly. So and our teachers made us comfortable and created a safe space for us to make mistakes. And that's just how it goes. If you want to learn, you have to be able to accept that you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay because that's how we learn. But it was a really awesome program, and I recommend it to everybody. But they do a lot of like they incorporated a lot of like land-based learning things, and a lot of people that I grew up going to Longhouse. My daughter goes to Longhouse with me too. But I noticed a lot of people that take the program, they don't like some people they don't go to ceremonies and stuff, but once they take the program and they start to understand our language, they feel more confident and I guess more connected. And then they start going to Longhouse and they start going to ceremony and they start doing all these good things, and like they feel more I guess comfortable and safe going because they've created that connection with language. So I always find that super awesome when I see people that haven't gone before and then they start going. And so yeah, that's what I noticed. That is really awesome about that program.
Nice.
Because like language is like ceremony, like everything's connected in that way. So that's just really awesome.
Yeah, that was sort of my experience too. I grew up so disconnected, and no one in my family, like my parents, like my mom is non-native, but my dad didn't speak, like it wasn't passed down. But once I started learning language, I felt comfortable enough to enter into ceremonies, even though they weren't my community or I didn't know what the ceremonies were. But just because I knew the language, I could understand like the purpose and the reasoning and the spirituality part to go and feel comfortable in those spaces because it was ingrained right into the words, right? So I also kind of resonate with that in a sense, because like that's what made me feel welcome to like be by myself and walk into like an open ceremony and participate. It's just, well, I know some of the teachings are right in the language, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's cool that you've noticed that's a common theme.
Mm-hmm.
So when you like, did you know you wanted to have kids and speak to them, or like in the language, or like you said you had friends that around your age? Did you all get together and we're like, okay, we're gonna have kids and we're all gonna speak?
Well, it didn't go like that, but I think, well, the thought, when the thought first crossed my mind, I was still in the Ratiwennahnírats program. But mind you, when I was in that program, I was like 19 years old. So I was still really young, and I was still living in Kahnawà, and there were some first language speakers, like younger ones, but being brought up. But the people that were raising them were like a lot older than me. So I never saw somebody like my age raising a first language speaker or anything like that yet. But like that's when the thought first popped in my head, like, oh, that would be cool. But I guess I had a lot of self-doubt though, because I didn't have a family that spoke, and I figured it would just be me and all this and whatever. But once I graduated from Ratiwennahnírats, that's when I started working in Ganienkeh right away. And from there, I met one of my friends. I didn't know her yet, my friends here in Ganienkeh, so I didn't know her yet. And her name is Hearn, and her son was around, I think, 3 years old at the time. He must have been around 3 years old when I first met him. And I remember going up to her, asking her something, and then I asked him, and then like he responded in Kanien'kehá, and I was like, what? Like, because he was so like advanced for his age. and she was like around my age. She's only like a few years older than me. And like, I was so like inspired and amazed by it, because I was like, hey, we're like same age and you're able to raise your baby in just a language. And like, it was kind of like an aha moment, like to like see it to believe it, kind of. And sometimes you need that to be able to, I guess, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Some people, you just, I don't know, you just need to see it to believe it. But her older sister as well, she raises her kids as first language speakers as well. And so it was just, I don't know, that was around the first time when I started to feel like, oh dang, maybe it is possible for me to start to raise my my children with like language in the home and to be first language speakers. But yeah.
Nice. You spoke about a language nest that you've been working at. Was that something that I guess you said you worked there for 10 years?
Yeah. I started working with, when I first started working in Ganienkeh, I was working with like 6, 7, 8-year-olds. And then once I had my daughter, I switched over to the language nest. So most of the women here would take their children to the language nest. And that's what my friends did as well. The ones raising their babies as first language speakers, they took their children to the language nest as well. But yeah, my daughter, she was going there, but she just recently switched to, she's in like nursery now. In the language nest it was a few teachers in there, me, 2 other teachers, and there was like 2 first language speakers in there. So I thought that was really important to always have a first language speaker in the classroom. Well, if you have the opportunity to have a first language speaker, it's really awesome, because they're so small, so they get to hear that old language that is kind of, I don't know, it gets lost along the way. So it's really important to have that, like that old dialect, and I mean, for them to hear. And it's really funny because I have a Kahnawà dialect, so it's a lot different than, well, not a lot different, but it's different from an Akwesasne dialect. So I say like, I would say Karennenhá for my name, but in Akwesasne they would say Ierennahá. So my daughter, I was one of her teachers, so she would grow up like in my house, like saying, I would say ours, or like Kahnawà dialect. And then in the language nest, there was a first language speaker from Akwesasne, and she uses her L's. So my daughter, I thought she would favor my dialect, but no, she's from Akwesasne. I was like, what? But I mean, it's all the same. But yeah, she talks like she's Akwesasne. But yeah, it's really funny. I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, it's awesome. I don't know. I find language nests really awesome, especially for mothers too, because it gives them that support system of, they have other, mothers and fathers, because fathers can go as well. Any parent, or even an auntie and an uncle or whatever, if you just want to bring somebody, but you get that support. Like, we're all there for the same reason, we all want to bring our children up, and ourselves as well, speaking the language. And it's like a level where it's like easier, simpler words. So a lot of people feel comfortable going to language nests because it's starting from like a beginner level. So it's easier that you're learning along with your child. So it's really awesome, and I recommend everybody do it.
So everyone there, like it's a child and a parent or guardian that has to go there? Like it's not just someone just dropping off their kid and then...
It was originally like that, but now it switched. I mean, it was originally like a language nest, but now it switched into like if you have because everybody is like so busy with their jobs and stuff. So it's like if you have the opportunity to go, or if you have the time, you can go. But yeah, they just recently changed how it works. But
And is it completely like English free, or do they still use English?
Right now, it's all Ganienkeh.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all Ganienkeh. It's not even when like the teachers like speak to each other, it's all in Ganienkeh, because that's important too. To like if you're speaking to your child, that's one thing, but for them to hear you speaking to somebody else is like a whole other thing too, because then they hear that language and how to, I don't know, talk to each other in that way. It's a whole other thing. So it's like my friends too, when I would speak to them, especially when they were really small, like we speak in Ganienkeh, like out in public or if we're in front of them, because then they hear you. And I've realized that like my daughter, I didn't know, well, because she only speaks to me in Ganienkeh, and I didn't really know how much English she knew, because she doesn't speak English in our in our home at all. So we went away this summer to Oregon, and she was we go there often. So the last time I had gone there was I guess the year before that, and my friend's mother was all like, "Oh," talking to the other kids, like, "Oh, be mindful. She doesn't speak English. She only speaks Mohawk. So just be mindful, whatever." And then so this summer I went there, and that's what she told her. And then like I go in the other room and I can hear her speaking English. I was like, what? I was like, I didn't even know she could speak English. She said a whole sentence. I was like, oh my God. And I'm in the other room, like almost crying. But I mean, it's awesome. Like you want your kids to know like all these languages, but I didn't know, because she doesn't speak English to me or like around my friends, because she knows that they speak. So it's like you're creating that relationship with your child, and like kind of setting that tone, like, okay, I never spoke English to her, so she doesn't speak English to me or my friends, because she knows they speak Kanien'kehá, so she speaks Kanien'kehá to them, or her friends she knows. But if she knows somebody, well, fast forward to now, if she knows somebody doesn't speak Kanien'kehá, she'll like come run up to me and we're like out, if we go back to Kahnawà or something, and she knows like somebody doesn't speak Kanien'kehá, she'll come to me and be like, Mama, they don't speak Kanien'kehá. I'm going to talk English to them, okay? And I'm like, okay, go ahead. But she'll come and like tell me, and I'm like, okay, go ahead. But yeah, that's what I realized is like if you speak English to them, they're gonna think you don't know how to speak Kanien'kehá. So they're gonna try and do that because they want you to feel included. They want to feel included and whatnot. But if you choose to speak Kanien'kehá to her, she's only gonna speak Kanien'kehá. But yeah, that's something I've realized.
It's amazing to me to like the kids know that, like they just innately know that, and they know the social implications by not understanding. So yeah, just knowing that they know how to switch the language.
Yeah, they're very smart.
If you didn't know, Ozawa.
They're a little too smart.
Yeah, that's been a common theme that we've been hearing recently, that I know Ozawa and I could do better on, is like, our kids speak to the dog a lot, but that's because I speak to the dog in the language. But, convenience wise, sometimes all the time, Ozawa and I are speaking in English because I'm like, daily life stuff. And I'm like, turn that into what, right? So that's one thing that like is a common theme that we're like, yeah, we should be doing that more, way more, because it normalizes it, right? And I don't know why way back when I thought they're like, if we speak English, they won't know what we're saying. Well, no, I'm just teaching them English. But I'd be like, and then that got into a bad habit. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they won't, like, it's a secret language. They won't know because we speak the language to them, right? But that's really awesome. Like, I think that's so sweet that she comes up and she's like, I can't speak. I'm going to switch over. I really admire that.
Something I did realize though is that when like bringing up a first language speaker, only using Ganienkeh in the home and like teaching small kids in a language nest, is that there's like a delay in I guess how much they can speak compared to like English speaking children. I've noticed that like because our words are a lot longer than English words, that there was a little bit of a delay in her speaking. I remember I went to I brought her to the park once, and she was really, I don't know how old she was at the time, maybe like 1 or 2 or something. And there's this little boy there, and he spoke a lot of like English, like a lot of words, and I was like, holy, he speaks a lot. And like I was like thinking like the difference between like raising a first language speaker, there is a delay because of how long our words are and how descriptive they are. So a lot of people get discouraged, like that they're not speaking like really young, but it's because our words are so long and descriptive. So I noticed that there was a delay in how fast, I guess, she was able to speak at a young age. So, and then I was talking to other first language speakers, like older ones, and then they said that it was the same way for their children growing up too, that there's a delay because of how long the words are, and like how many syllables there are compared to English, because English is a lot easier to learn because the words are so short. But I thought that was I don't know, I guess an important thing for people to know so they don't get discouraged. But yeah.
And I'm guessing similarly, like I feel like this is true for a lot of Indigenous languages, but is Mohawk a verb-based language? Like, a lot of verbs versus nouns?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I think our Ganienkeh anyways, I know it's just really, really descriptive. It's a really hard language. I think that's why it's like so important to bring up like small children with language right away, because as you get older, it's a lot harder to learn. But yeah, overall, I think it's just really descriptive. It's beautiful. It's alive. That's why it's so hard to learn, because it's alive like anything else.
Yeah, the Schnabben one is the same. Like everything is generally a description of like the way our senses interpret the world and the relationship that we have with it. But with verb-based stuff, you use like millions of conjugations. Like there's millions of ways of like me to it to her, and that takes a while to get to know, versus English where you just can move words around however you want in a sentence. And I think, we say delayed, but Western society like gives us this timeline that is like, well, they should be speaking by this whatever. And our son, he didn't start speaking until he was about 3, right? Ozawa? Yeah. And we were in COVID, so it was like we were only speaking the language to him at home for the majority of the time. So one is that they had less exposure to people in general to hear more language, but it like the speech pathologist or whatever therapist was just like, no, he's fine. He doesn't speak any English. It's not a language problem. It's like because he's speaking the Schnabben or he's hearing it, and he's probably going through the same thing, right? Like our words are like the whole sentence is one word, right?
Yeah. it's a lot more descriptive. It's funny when some people like ask me for a word sometimes. And I'm like, well, where, who, why? Like, you have to ask all these questions. Like, I'm like, I can't just answer it like that. You got to tell me what time of day. I'm just like, no. But yeah, it is pretty hard. It's your son is. You said your son is he 3 or? Oh,
He's 5 now. Our daughter's 7.
oh, okay.
And our son is 5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my daughter's almost 5 too, because she was born during COVID as well. So it was kind of like we weren't really going out and about and like seeing all kinds of people too. So it was kind of like it helped her with her language, I'd say, in a way, you know, as isolating as it was. But you know, it helped in that way. But my daughter, we've always lived alone together though. It's always just been me and her in the household since she's been born too. So she's never heard like, there's never been like English in the home at all. So she's we had that as well.
Did you feel confident in your level of speaking? Like
well, yeah, I did. What do you mean?
Like, just because we talk about like as adults when we learn the language, like there's so much to learn in the language, right? How to conjugate and all of that. And I know for some people, they don't feel like they're at a high enough level to speak only in Kanien'kehá. They might, I don't know enough, so I don't want to speak at all because I don't want to teach them the wrong way of speaking. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. But with her, I feel like because I was a language teacher already, and I had done adult immersion programs. I had I have an advanced level of language, but from when they're really young, I feel like it's a more of a beginner level. It's like they're so small. But I did notice that I was using words that I had to go like research words because I didn't. It's all about your environment when, like your language, your lingo, or what you know. It's like what you're surrounded with and what you surround yourself with, and that's your everyday language. But then me, I have this new baby, and I'm like, I don't know these like, I don't know, like breastfeeding words or like stuff like that. Like I didn't know those words, so I had to like call somebody and ask them, and then write it all down, and then figure it out, and little things like that. But for the most part, it was a little bit like mostly just commands in the beginning or like things like that. But it was a little bit easier. Nahoda? Okay, got so get easy. She but yeah, so it was a little bit I felt like I had confidence in that way, but now because I've been teaching I guess younger ones for so long that now I feel like my fluency has like decreased in a way because I've been teaching like a lower level for so long that I feel like now she is so advanced that I feel like I need to take like a more advanced course or something to I guess support her in that way. But she has the class she's in now, her nursery class, she's being taught by a first language speaker too. So she gets all of that. So I'm like really grateful for that because I'm not a first language speaker, and you know I don't know it all. I'm not perfect. So she gets to hear that all day. So I'm really, really grateful for that because sometimes like even like I still make mistakes, and but I'm open to like people correcting me. And I think that's like we have to be open to people correcting us if we want to, you know. Yeah.
That's unreal. And so she gets a first language speaker as a teacher, and then like, you know, you felt confident enough, and like confident enough to just to do it, and to be humble enough to know that like you may not have every single thing, but that you can go out and find that and do your best to implement it in the household. Like that's incredible, because I know I've experienced imposter syndrome for like my language level was probably not where it needed to be when I started, but I just wanted to give them whatever I could. So that's like just incredible that, you know, you're able to do that. And she has that access at school as well, and then comes home to it, and it's reinforced in the home. Like, that it really is moving.
Yeah, I think I think I may have been a little extreme with it, though. I'm just no, but
Tell me, I want to hear about it, because that's good. I need, like, how can I get that?
I had when she was first born in the hospital, even I gave birth to her in the hospital, and I was like telling the nurses and the doctor, I was like, would you mind not talking when she's born? Because I don't want the first language she hears to be like someone else's language. So it's like I want to talk to her first in our language, And so they respected that, and they're like, they're like, well,
there you go.
So she had they respected that, and they're like, yeah, sure. So the first language she heard was our language, and then when we just like when I brought her home, and from day one, I was already speaking Kanien'kehá to her and whatnot. But like raising her, I noticed that like with TV, like she didn't really watch TV that often. I didn't really let her watch it. But if she did, I mean, she was always outside anyways for the most part. But if she did watch television, it was always like non-verbal shows. I don't know. Not like Tom and Jerry, but like stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like things like that she would watch. So I feel like kids only look at the pictures anyways. But for a while, just like stuff like that, or she would watch like Ierennahá. It's like a Ganienkeh television show. So she really enjoyed that, and that supported her language journey as well. But I feel like television is it's an inspiration to children, because they're watching that every day, and they kind of want to be like whatever's going on the TV. So if they're hearing that English, that constant English, they're gonna want to mimic it. So she didn't watch a lot of TV. I mean, now she does. She's older now. So, but like the beginning years, like of your child's life, are the most important, because like that's when they're going to decide which language they're going to favor. So I was really strict about like television, even toys. Like I'd buy more like natural toys, like wooden toys, and like not ones that were like singing English songs. But I found those things were important too.
Is there a lot of resources in Kanien'kehá?
I think that one television show, everybody loves that show. That one, but for kids, not really like any other shows. I don't really, I don't know. Cause I'm like thinking like I'm thinking about long ago, all we did was speak. There wasn't like anything like fancy. There wasn't any like all the like computers and all these things. And it's like as simple as just speaking. And I think we like try to complicate things sometimes. But when you get down to it, it's literally we just need to be consistently speaking to them.
I don't know if later on after the podcast is over or whatnot, but if you have a couple of those nonverbal shows, if you ever think of them and want to write them down, that might be helpful to share as well. Just we tried doing something similar where it was either in the language or we tried to have things on that was similar, like Pingu, or something that there's no real like language being spoken. Or we would switch it to a different language. Like if people gave us a toy that spoke, like we'd put it into Spanish instead of the English to just eliminate as much.
I speak Spanish, yeah.
Monty or Ozawa was always like trying to like fiddle with to turn like the Buzz Lightyear into Spanish instead of English or whatever, right?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I noticed too that I'm just trying to think back to when she was really young. I wrote a list of what I used to do just to remind myself. I remember when she was really young, my father, he doesn't speak. So when he knew that I was like trying to bring her up like a first language speaker and always talking to her. So she was teaching him words now. So it was like bringing language to like my family, my extended family. And so he was trying now to like learn these things from her to like encourage her to speak and, make her feel included. So I thought that was really awesome too. Okay. What's a Kodago, Huggy? But what else was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. It's just really beautiful to see something. I don't know. It unfolds so naturally because I've never experienced that before. So I've only ever seen it in like a school setting, and then I don't know, just to see it unfold so naturally in your home is just like one of the, I don't know, I guess like sounds all corny, but like one of the greatest things I've ever like been able to be a part of, like, I don't know. It's just awesome. Okay.
So when you're around other family, did that like encourage them to use more language?
Yeah, I felt like it helped. Well, my siblings as well. They were in like immersion school too, but they don't speak. But once she was born, it's like, hey, you guys better speak, So they do. So they do, and they encourage her, and they want her to feel like included, and but yeah, I noticed too that I don't know, I thought it was really awesome. I felt so proud. I would bring her to the doctors, like for her checkups and whatnot. And I was in Kahnawà. So she'd go every, I don't know, a year, every few months or whatever. And one of her, her nurse was talking to me, and it was, it was our last visit at the doctor's office. Oh yeah. So it was our last visit at the doctor's office, like in the well baby clinic or something. And she would switch to like a private doctor or something now. And so I was talking to the nurse that I've seen her like over the years, and kind of built like a little bit of a relationship, seeing her like often or whatever. And it was our last visit together. So I was like, oh no, I'm not going to see you anymore. And she's like, I felt really, really inspired that you and your daughter only speak Kanien'kehá to each other. And so I decided to take like a class now to try and learn Kanien'kehá now. She's like, it's only like once or twice a week. But I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Like, and I felt like so proud of her. And like, I was so happy that like my daughter inspired her to be able to like, to take that, that healthy risk and that step to learning language. And it's a lot harder to do that once you get older, I feel, because you don't want to make a mistake, you don't want to do this. So it takes a lot to just be like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to do this. And I was so proud of her and happy to hear that she felt inspired by her to go and do that. But yeah, I thought I'd share that.
That's beautiful. That was my next question anyways. So like, something that was really rewarding, or something that, was such a special moment in your learning journey and your household, immersive household journey. You kind of just answered my quick question anyway. Awesome. Unless there's something else that you have, but that's amazing, because you're reaching out and you didn't even mean to. Like, you're extending into community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really happy for her. But yes, oh yeah, tao do what okay. Why so not quite so
do you have any so say for those that are learning or continuing on their learning as they're helping raise their children in the home with language, or wherever, however they're doing that, maybe not children, maybe whoever they're taking care of, their nieces or nephews, whatnot, do you have any, like, I don't want to say like study tips or like ways of reinforcing your own learning, or anything, like what was like most helpful for you in your journey, or things that you continue to do that might help others, when they hit roadblocks, or when they're, wanting to start, say? That's a big question, so you can take a minute to think about it. Or any like resources, or any kind of things that you use that you would recommend if you don't have any suggestions off the top of your head.
I feel like it's hard because everybody's situation is different and we don't all live the same lives. So it's hard to what the Isa to do. Isa so that Nanda. Yeah, so I feel like everybody's living a different life, and we're not like, we don't all have the same situations. We don't all have the same resources. We don't all have like the same amount of children, or we don't, like, we all have different circumstances. So it's hard. So I feel like we can, we just have to do what we can, or whatever's available to us, and just try our best. Like, there's a lot of like online programs now that I see people posting, which might be easier for people that have like not a lot of time, or not a lot of or they're working a lot, or they have a lot of kids, and it's just like an hour a day, or once or twice a week. But I feel like for me, what really helped me the most was just biting that bullet and doing that 2-year immersion program, because it really helped with my language a lot. Like, if I didn't take that program, I don't think I would be raising a first language speaker right now, because that's how much I learned from that program. And I'll always be grateful for that program, as like overwhelming as it was, like balancing life. It was really rewarding in the end. And they do have like different resources at the KOR. It's a Kahnawà. They sell different like books and whatnot that you can use to like learn at home, or even just like reading the dictionary too. We have like more dictionary stuff, and just like there's like phrases and words and stuff like that. And like, if you really don't have time, because I know it's hard, like life gets busy, and we're all trying to balance everything, but I feel like just taking that first step and saying like I'm willing to learn, or I want to learn, is like it's a big thing. Okay, watch the video. Okay.
So do you maintain, like, do you talk to, like, who else do you talk to nowadays? Like, just your friends, or do you have like fluent speakers that you are in contact with? just to maintain?
I feel like when the kids are around, we all speak Kanien'kehá. But I mean, we still speak English to each other too. But I think if I don't know words, I'll write them down in a journal. And then if we're hanging out, me and my daughter, and then she asks something and I don't know how to say it, I'll write it down and then I'll go and call somebody or ask somebody, or I'll ask her teacher. Her teacher is actually my age too. So, and she's a first language speaker. So I'll go and ask her, like, how do you say this? Or, but that's one way that I try to continue to advance my level of speaking. But I eventually would like to start taking like a night course or something just to keep up with her, because it's like, I don't know, I guess I just didn't expect her to like be that advanced at such like a young age. So it's like, oh dang, I gotta take a class now or something. But I mean, I speak really well. It's just I want it to be like really correct and just but yeah, those things. But it's hard to find balance right now too, because I'm in school for like medicine and whatnot. So it's just about I guess doing what you can.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start wrapping up. I think like what you shared was just awesome, and you're raising your child and she's a first speaker. Like, that's amazing. Like, just amazing accomplishment. Is there anything that you want to add at the end, or anything you want to promote?
Not really. I guess I'll just say that it doesn't matter how much language as long as you're trying and doing your best, then that's awesome. Like, you don't need to like raise a first language speaker. Like, you just, whatever level you're at, and as long as you're trying, then that's super awesome, and it's like really great. And to just I guess get over that fear of making mistakes and just believe in yourself. And we're all worthy of learning our language. We're all worthy of learning our ceremonies. And don't ever let anybody tell you you're not, because you are. And creating that relationship with language and ceremony is so important, and it gives our children like the confidence they need, and that connection to who we are as people. And just to encourage everybody to take that healthy risk, and because it's so rewarding in the end to feel that connection, is just, I don't know, it's really awesome. But I also do realize that in order for like people to want to learn our language and our ceremonies and stuff, we also need to like focus on like a lot of like healing in our communities, and create more like safe space for our people to be able to want to learn these things. And just create more opportunities of healing for our people, because when we're coming from a hurt place, we're not really wanting to learn or do these things. We're not really like focused on that. So I feel like we'd have more people learning language and ceremony if we're taking care of them in that good way to, I don't know, just to feel okay. We need to do that good work as well if we want more people speaking, if we want more people going to Longhouse and whatnot, and just being good to each other. It's as simple as that. Just being good to each other, and having a safe space, because then we're willing to make mistakes, and then if we're making mistakes, then we're learning. So that's I think all I have to say. I don't know. I forgot a few things, but I'm just.
No, it's awesome.
No, that was really like. There's a lot of powerful words there that I'm taking and putting in my bundle, like, my little invisible bundle of like of tools help me through life.
That's awesome. I have one too.
Take that healthy risk. I'm like, that's quote book material right there. Everything, you said some really awesome things, but I'm like, I really like the way you put that. Take that healthy risk. Yeah. Start saying to people.
My other advice is never go to Costco on the weekend. I'm kidding. No tax, don't go. Yeah. But it was really awesome to meet you guys. Thank you for asking me to come on. And it's really inspiring work you guys are doing. And I'm honestly not very extroverted or anything. I'm more introverted. So it's like, but I feel like it's important for, I guess, for me to share with other people that it is possible for, like I come from a family that doesn't speak. So some people just need to see it to believe it. Just like I did, I felt like I needed to see it to believe in myself when I saw my friend. So like this gives people the opportunity to hear the different tools I've used to hopefully encourage others to speak language and the home and whatnot. So thank you guys for having this podcast. It's really awesome.
Yeah, Chimigwech and Yahweh to you as well. Like it's really it's been really inspiring and really really amazing, and like kind of filling my heart up hearing a lot of things that you had to share. And I'm really grateful that we got to meet you. And when Monty, told me about what he saw, like raising a first speaker, or like, oh my gosh, we need to get her on and to share her story and motivate others just the way you motivated us. And it's really nice that we can come together to share our journeys together in the work that we're all doing. So I say a big thank you to you and everything you're doing for your children and your community and yourself.
Now.
I think that's all we have. So yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
right.
Thank you very much, and we hope you have an awesome day, awesome week, awesome year.
You guys too. Ona Nyawa. Ona Nyawa.
Ona.
Bye. Chimigwech Gabzindao Kahnawà. Thanks so much for listening to our podcast and weighing our sound. To reach us by email, find us at oursound.podcast@gmail.com. You can find all of our links to Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, Instagram, etc. at our link tree, which is linktr.ee/nwaying.oursound. Our theme song was done by myself, Neen Mashkogabwitkwe, and artwork completed by Nashime, my younger brother, Brent Beauchamp. Chimigwech.